Hello Golden State Warriors fans, we are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
Dwyane Wade loves the intensity of the playoffs, but admits Stephen Curry's situation is crazy. The first-round series between the Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors has been nothing short of intense and physical, and Dwyane Wade is all for it. In the playoffs, even in the opening rounds, physicality is part of the game. While regular season calls might come for even the lightest of contacts, the postseason is a different animal. There's been some hard fouls, like Goga Bitadze's accidental cut on Kristaps Porzingis and Klay Thompson's clash with Jimmy Butler, but overall, the extra physical play is more than welcome. However, one player who isn't exactly enjoying the playoff physicality is Stephen Curry. Despite averaging 4.3 free throw attempts per game this season, Curry has only been to the line 6 times in the first 2 games of the series, with the Warriors and Rockets playing at an extremely high level. Stephen Curry isn't getting the calls, says Dwyane Wade. After Jimmy Butler left the game with a pelvic injury caused by a physical play in the first quarter, the Rockets managed to force 1.6 defenders per possession on Curry, according to ESPN's Monica McNutt. Curry was double-teamed for most of the game, getting grabbed when he didn't have the ball, taking hits when attacking the basket, and facing aggressive coverage whenever he tried to shoot. While players generally enjoy the extra physicality the playoffs bring, it's clear that Curry isn't getting a fair whistle. From a playoff perspective, I love that the whistles are staying in the pocket, Dwyane Wade said. I love that we're not in the regular season anymore. We're in the playoffs, and I love the fact that the refs are looking at the players like, play through it. But Wade didn't hold back, acknowledging that Curry's situation feels unjust. When it comes to Steph, it's crazy what you can do to him, Wade continued. But I love it. This is playoff basketball. You don't want to see everyone at the free throw line in the playoffs. I need you to show me, go out and get a bucket. Of course, Curry is one of the greatest shooters of all time, and he doesn't need to prove his scoring ability to anyone. But the Warriors certainly need him to be at his best, especially if Butler can't return to the court. Curry's struggles and the impact of Butler's absence. Curry has only managed to convert 6 free throws in the first 2 games combined, which speaks to the lack of protection he's getting from the officials and his reluctance to put himself in that position. The bigger issue for the Warriors, however, is the absence of Jimmy Butler. Golden State is hopeful that Butler will return for Game 3 on Saturday, or at least later in the series, but until the MRI results come in, everything is up in the air. Here's what we do know: without Butler on the court, the Warriors are missing a key player who typically opens up space for Curry. Without him, the Rockets can play more aggressive defense on the sharpshooter, making it harder for Curry to get clean looks. Of course, Curry's movement off the ball often allows him to get free, no matter how many defenders are on him. But with the refs looking the other way, slower defenders like Fred VanVleet, Dillon Brooks, and even Draymond Green can clutch or grab Curry, preventing him from getting those open looks. In Game 2, with Butler off the floor, the Warriors were outscored by 8 points, and Curry struggled, hitting just 4 of 11 shots in the final 3 quarters. This is not a good sign for the Warriors, although Butler's return before the weekend could change things. As the series moves forward, the Warriors will need to step up their play, especially if they want to continue challenging the Rockets in this highly physical battle. Warriors' chances hinge heavily on Stephen Curry's ability to carry the load, and with Butler's potential absence, the team's offensive scheme will have to adapt quickly. Without their star forward to help open up space, the defense will likely key in more on Curry, as they did in the final quarters of Game 2, making it crucial for the Warriors to find other avenues of production. The Warriors' depth is put to the test. In Butler's absence, players like Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Jordan Poole need to step up. Klay has shown flashes of his old self in the playoffs, but he's going to have to be more consistent. Poole has been inconsistent at times, but his ability to create his own shot could be vital if the Warriors are to stay competitive. Wiggins, on the other hand, has been invaluable on both ends of the floor, and his defensive presence will be even more critical if the team is to manage without Butler's two-way impact. Steve Kerr's coaching will also be tested as he looks to adjust the Warriors' offense. His philosophy is rooted in ball movement, spacing, and the three-point shot, but with more defenders swarming Curry and less space to operate, Kerr might have to get creative with his rotations and offensive sets. Expect to see more pick-and-roll actions, more off-the-ball movement to free up shooters, and potentially a bigger role for Jonathan Kuminga, who has been a wild card this season. The Rockets' confidence grows. On the flip side, the Rockets are starting to build some serious confidence in this series. Houston, while young, has shown resilience. Their aggressive defense has been a challenge for the Warriors, and without Butler to mitigate some of that pressure, the Rockets might start to feel like they have the upper hand. The likes of Fred VanVleet, Dillon Brooks, and Jalen Green will likely continue to crowd Curry, pushing him to work even harder for his shots. Adding to the Rockets' optimism is the rise of their young players like Jabari Smith Jr. and Alperen Sengun, who have stepped up in key moments. If the Rockets can continue to balance their defense with efficient scoring, they could steal a game at home and put the Warriors in a deeper hole. Game 3, a critical turning point. As the series heads to Minnesota for Game 3, it's clear that this matchup has become even more unpredictable. If Butler can return for the Warriors, that would significantly boost their chances. However, if the injury keeps him sidelined longer, the Warriors will need to dig deep. A strong Game 3 performance is crucial, not just to regain momentum, but to prove that they can survive in the postseason without one of their key players. For Curry, the next game will be a test of his mental and physical toughness. The crazy situations he's faced on the court with the lack of calls will continue to be a point of discussion, but he'll have to rise above it, even if it means doing more with less help. As for the Rockets, Game 3 offers them an opportunity to push the Warriors to the brink. Ultimately, the narrative of this series will revolve around how well Curry can adjust, how the Warriors adapt without Butler, and how the Rockets continue to capitalize on their defensive game plan. The stakes are high, and with every game, the pressure mounts. Brian Windhorst gives key update on Jimmy Butler's injury, highlights difference from Chet Holmgren's incident. The status of Jimmy Butler's injury remains up in the air ahead of Game 3 between the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets, after he was diagnosed with a deep gluteal contusion following his fall in Game 2. While the concern is palpable, NBA analyst Brian Windhorst sees a silver lining for the Warriors in this situation. Windhorst, Butler dodged a bigger injury, unlike Holmgren. The good news, according to Windhorst, is that Butler managed to avoid a more severe injury despite the significant fall. Windhorst compared Butler's situation to Chet Holmgren's devastating injury, which kept the Oklahoma City Thunder star sidelined from November 2024 to February 2025 due to a broken hip. Ja Morant and Jimmy Butler both had similar falls on consecutive nights. Butler was going for a rebound and landed on his feet from a comfortable height, Windhorst explained on ESPN. So, I think it's fortunate that Jimmy didn't end up with a broken hip or coccyx, especially considering we saw Chet Holmgren suffer a similar fall, Windhorst continued. It's a good sign that Butler didn't walk out of that MRI with news of a fracture in his pelvis or anything worse. Windhorst's analysis suggests Butler could return soon, possibly within a week. Windhorst referenced injury expert Jeff Stott's analysis, which notes that the average recovery time for an injury like Butler's is about 5.2 days. I think Jeff Stotts has an incredible database on injuries, and his data suggests Butler will likely miss 2 to 3 games, and generally a week or so because of this, Windhorst said. This isn't the first time Butler has dealt with a gluteal injury. He suffered a similar contusion during the 2023 playoffs, which gives the Warriors hope that his recovery this time could follow a similar path. Warriors desperately need Butler's two-way presence for playoff success. Butler's impact on both ends of the floor has been critical to the Warriors' success this season, making his potential return timeline a key factor in the outcome of this series. The Warriors' hopes of overcoming the Rockets in this tight playoff race heavily rely on his contribution. The Warriors' medical team will likely take a cautious approach with their star player, balancing the urgency of playoff basketball with the risk of exacerbating his injury. If Butler misses Game 3, Golden State will need more from their supporting cast to fill the significant gap left by his versatile presence on both ends of the court. Warriors adjust to Butler's absence, brace for Game 3 challenge. As the series between the Warriors and Rockets heads into Game 3, Golden State finds itself facing a crucial challenge. Can they maintain their intensity and defensive pressure without Butler? His presence on both offense and defense has been integral to the Warriors' success all season long, and his potential absence puts added pressure on the supporting cast to step up. If Butler is unable to play, players like Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins will have to shoulder more of the burden. Thompson's scoring ability will be more important than ever, especially in a high-stakes environment. Draymond's defensive leadership, however, may become even more pivotal as he would likely need to fill the gap left by Butler's two-way impact. The pressure mounts. Could the Warriors find a new hero? With the stakes higher than ever, this could be the moment for Golden State's role players to rise to the occasion. Jordan Poole, for example, has shown flashes of brilliance this season. His ability to score quickly and provide a spark off the bench could be essential for the Warriors' success without Butler on the floor. The question remains, will Poole, alongside the other supporting cast members, be able to match the intensity Butler brings? The Warriors' depth has been one of their strong suits, but with the injury bug striking at such a critical time, the team is left to rely on the cohesion and determination that's carried them this far. What's at stake for the Warriors? If Butler misses more than just Game 3, the Warriors' window to capitalize on the Rockets' vulnerability could close quickly. The team has proven that they can compete at a high level when fully healthy, but every missed game for Butler brings the risk of losing precious ground in a tightly contested playoff series. Game 3 promises to be a pivotal moment, not just for the Warriors, but also for Butler's potential return timeline. If the Warriors can pull off a win without their star player, it will showcase the resilience and depth of the squad. But if they falter, the road back could become increasingly difficult as the series progresses. Hope on the horizon, Butler's possible return. For now, all eyes will be on the updates surrounding Butler's injury. The Warriors are surely hoping for good news, but as Windhorst pointed out, they are fortunate that Butler avoided a catastrophic injury. His possible return in a few games is what they're all banking on, and as each day passes, the hope of seeing their star back on the court grows stronger. If Butler returns sooner rather than later, the Warriors may find themselves even better equipped to reclaim control of the series. But until then, every game counts, and Golden State will need to continue adapting and fighting without their most influential player. The question now is whether they can do enough to survive in the interim and hold their ground in what promises to be a thrilling, unpredictable playoff battle. Dub Hub, Warriors may need to rethink everything if Jimmy Butler misses Game 3. Here's your all-in-one roundup of everything Warriors and NBA related for Friday, April 25th. The Golden State Warriors are facing a pivotal moment, not just in their series, but in their entire playoff strategy. Following a tough loss to the Houston Rockets in Game 2, all eyes are now on the health of star forward Jimmy Butler. After taking a hard fall early in the first quarter, Butler left the game and did not return. An MRI the next day revealed a deep gluteal contusion, and he's officially listed as questionable for Game 3 on Saturday. His absence was felt immediately. The energy shifted, the game plan cracked, and the Warriors struggled to find their rhythm on either end of the floor. After the game, head coach Steve Kerr didn't mince words. If Butler can't suit up, the team may need to rethink everything. One possible adjustment? Giving Jonathan Kuminga a bigger role. Kuminga, who has seen inconsistent minutes recently, stepped in following Butler's injury and logged 26 minutes, the third highest on the team. He scored 11 points and hit a pair of threes, showing flashes of the dynamic play he delivered earlier this season, including a 33-point breakout performance against Houston back in December. Yes, there's still some rust to shake off, but the potential is undeniable. And Steph Curry made it clear in his post-game comments, Kuminga needs to stay locked in. With Butler's availability up in the air, the Warriors may have to lean on their young forward more than ever. Butler's presence on the court isn't just about numbers, it's about leadership, toughness, and the ability to swing momentum with a single possession. Losing him, even temporarily, could force Golden State to scrap the playbook and rewrite the script. Meanwhile, across the league, Draymond Green finished third in NBA Defensive Player of the Year voting, another nod to his relentless impact on that end of the court. The Oklahoma City Thunder pulled off a dramatic comeback to take a 3-0 series lead over the Memphis Grizzlies, rallying from 26 points down on Thursday night. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and the Warriors are now standing at a crossroads. If Jimmy Butler can't go in Game 3, the team's depth, flexibility, and resilience will be tested like never before. The uncertainty surrounding Butler's status has sent a ripple through the entire organization. Internally, the coaching staff is working around the clock to prepare for multiple scenarios. If Butler can play, he likely won't be at full strength. If he's ruled out, it's next man up, a mentality the Warriors are no strangers to, but one that carries a heavier weight in the playoffs. This situation also places added pressure on the team's veterans. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, both of whom have been through just about every playoff scenario imaginable, will need to steady the ship. Curry has already been vocal in the locker room, urging the team to stay mentally sharp and focused regardless of who's available. Injuries are part of this game, Curry said Thursday. But championship teams find a way. But the spotlight isn't just on the stars. Players like Moses Moody, Gary Payton II, and even rookie Brandon Podziemski could be called upon to contribute in meaningful ways if the rotation has to shift dramatically. Golden State's bench depth, often a question mark this season, might now be its lifeline. The fan base, too, is feeling the tension. Social media exploded with reactions after the MRI results were released. Many fans expressed frustration, calling for Kuminga to be permanently reinserted into the rotation, citing his athleticism and two-way potential as critical assets moving forward. Others remain hopeful Butler will pull through and return to anchor the defense and add toughness on the wing. Across the league, analysts and insiders are closely watching how the Warriors handle this adversity. ESPN's Brian Windhorst noted, "This could be a defining moment for this iteration of the Warriors. Losing Butler, even temporarily, could expose their lack of depth. But if they manage to rally and respond, it might also be the spark that brings them together." And all of this comes at a time when the Western Conference couldn't be tighter. Every game counts. Every adjustment matters. For Steve Kerr and the Warriors, Game 3 won't just be about strategy, it will be a test of adaptability, leadership, and belief. With tip-off approaching and Butler's status still uncertain, the message is clear: the Warriors must be ready for anything.